Well, it's been a minute. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this this is the return of the Hangout. This is my once weekly live stream where we just hang out and talk about comics. It's good to be back. I'm excited to be here. So, if you are here watching live, go ahead and say what's up so I can acknowledge you. But if you're here watching on the replay, I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate it. I was doing this weekly and had to take a quick little break. Had to pause for the summer. It was just busy, and then even now it's still pretty busy. But my goal is to actually do this the first week of every month. Technically, this is the last week of August and not the first week of September, but I'm busy next week, so we're doing it today. But we'll try to at least do one of these once a month. But the schedule's gonna be kind of wonky. But anyway, you don't care about that. I'm excited to be here. Thank you guys for being here. Let's go ahead and see who is here. My man Brandon, Looney Tunes fan, was here at 11 a.m. So shout out to you, man. My man Gray is here. Woo. Tim's here. Long time awaiting. What's up? What's happening? Not a whole lot, man. It's been busy, but yeah, I'm crazy busy at work. We have new responsibilities at our church, and so like that is busy, and all of that. And back to school week was last week for my oldest, so getting used to a new carpool routine and just trying to structure days differently. I feel like we've been in like a constant transition, but I'm excited for what the fall brings and to get to a new normal, so to speak. James says to find out what type of murder will take place during the return of the Hangout. That's hilarious. Blanc says, well, you look just like this YouTube guy I used to watch. Word. I mean, I didn't disappear from YouTube. Just I stopped streaming. But I'm excited to stream. This is one of my favorite parts of YouTube is the interactivity. And speaking of, tonight is not really any big agenda. We're just talking. We're hanging out. 'Cause I just want to, get updates, see how you guys have been. Brandon says, what's up, Doc? What's up? What's up? Valzad's here. He says, what's up, everybody? Tyler's here. What's up, Tyler? Rupert says, what's the haps? Not much haps. Rupert says, it seems so long since we've hung out on the Hangout. Yeah, it's been a minute. The last time we hung out was the first week of July. And we did a little celebration of the YouTube community and other channels that I enjoy watching. But yeah, I'm going to try to, like I said, make this at least a once monthly thing. Eventually, I want to get it up to bi-weekly. But I took a step back because I needed another night to record content. And so if I'm live streaming, I'm not recording. So that's a part of it. And then also we're just busy like every weeknight. It's crazy. And I don't think streaming on the weekend is really makes sense. I have over 2K now. Oh, that's on your YouTube channel? Let's look at. I'm not familiar with your channel. So let's look it up. Brandon Looney Tunes fan 2000. Nice. 2,000 and about 40 subscribers. Oh, cool. You're like actually posting old cartoons. I see some Fleischer Superman here. Daffy Duck for president. Oh, Lulu, little Lulu. Very cool. Okay. All right. This is an aside if I've ever been on an aside. I just hit subscribe, though. Who's my favorite Looney Tunes character? I think it's just Bugs Bunny. I haven't watched Looney Tunes in so long, but yeah, I like Bugs Bunny. I like Sylvester. I like Wile E. Coyote. I like Foghorn Leghorn. It's not a lot of Looney Tunes I don't like, but if I had to pick a favorite, it's probably Bugs. MN says, am I the only one slightly disappointed with Ultimate Invasion? It doesn't feel epic and Hickman enough. So word on the street is that Ultimate Invasion was initially supposed to be penned by Donnie Cates. And the epic and Hickman thing that you're looking for is this Gods series that is going to come out when, I want to say, Gods is supposed to happen like next month or the month after issue 1. So yeah. Oh yeah, Marvin the Martian. I forgot about him. But yeah, so if you're looking for something big and Hickman-y, that is supposedly the big Hickman event. An Ultimate Invasion, Hickman just kind of, got tapped in to do. I don't know if I wouldn't say at the last minute. I don't know how long it was in development, but I just know he wasn't originally the one supposed to do it. So I don't know as far as the new Ultimate Universe, how that's going, who's shepherding that. But hey, I know there are a lot of people that are excited about it. The Ultimate Universe first started out in 2000, when I was 9. So because I wasn't reading comics back then, I don't have any sort of frame of reference as to what to look out for or how excited I could or should be. So I'll probably pick up a couple of the Ultimate titles, but I'm not reading Ultimate Invasion, so I can't say I'm disappointed by it. S. Vaughn's here, says much love from Chattanooga, Tennessee. What's up, man? Peace and love from Raleigh, North Carolina. First week of college for Gray, may have gotten the Rona somewhere. Murphy's having a good laugh at this. Yeah, everything that can go wrong. It has been a rough summer. I mean, I can't say it's been all rough, but I did not plan this summer very well. So within an 8-week span, I went to Heroes Con, a week-long family vacation, did my daughter's 13th birthday party, and then went on another week-long international vacation, just with my oldest. And it was just wild to try to do all of that in such a short amount of time. So the thing that has suffered has been YouTube, and then my comics reading, and even the buying part. Like, my budget has shrank over the summer. But all in all, I mean, we're all healthy, we're all here, we're all whole, so I can't really be mad. Bunk says, dang comic son, speaking of Gray, hope you get better soon. Have to get actual freshman experience. Or get to have the actual freshman experience you're supposed to. Yeah, man. Yeah. Hope you get over that soon. The Rona is going around once again. As a matter of fact, a few of my family members got COVID when we were out of the country. I didn't get it, and I'm grateful that I didn't get it. But yeah, that was a thing. S. Vaughn is from Middle Valley, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Nice. If you could just put your address and your social in the chat, and your mother's maiden name. We just need that just to know more about you. So, yeah, man. But how have you guys been? As you can see, we've done a little bit of a facelift to the stream. So now when I highlight people, it's in purple in honor of the late Skip and Tosh, my homie who is gone way too soon. And that's just one of the ways I try to keep the memory alive. He loved hanging out with you guys. He was here almost every week. And yeah, man, so it's bittersweet doing one of these knowing he's not about to be in the chat. But he was a moderator on the channel, all those things. But anyway, paying our respects to Skip. We'll see this background in that nice Sacramento purple for quite some time. If I'm honest, I kind of like the look of it, but I try to be careful because if I put a hat on and I grow a beard, we kind of look alike, and so I don't want to trigger anybody. It's kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too hard, but yeah. I was offered moonshine on campus today. Who said you couldn't have fun as a commuter? Absolutely staying sober, though. Yeah, I was never offered. Well, that's not true because I wasn't offered moonshine, but the first time I ever drank, it was Everclear, and it was in college, and yeah, it was so bad that I didn't drink again until quite literally like the last 2 nights of my freshman year. It was that was rough. I don't like the taste of alcohol, so I don't think it was ever gonna really go all that well for me. But boy, that was rough. Gamer Emporium says, "What's up, my comic fam? What's up, dude? It's good to see you. I'm glad you're able to make it here live." And Bunk says, "Speaking of vacation, I'm really glad I didn't get murdered on my trip to Vermont and New Hampshire. Here it's rough country up there." Valzad says, "Wondering if you've heard about Ace Blade comics." Boy, have I. I got some Ace Blade comics right there behind that box. But I also have, also from Fourth Wall Productions, Lumberjacks, written by Morgan Iverson and edited by Danny Quick. I think Danny letters this as well. So yeah, the homies over at Fourth Wall are homies of mine. And so I was introduced to Ace Blade. As a matter of fact, I've got a piece of Ace Blade original art. Give me a second to remember where I put it. I thought it was right there. It's not, which means I have no idea where it is. So getting up to find it is just probably not a good idea. I did some cleaning in here because I went to a signing this weekend. I saw Bernard Chang, and what something that blew my mind was that Bernard Chang knew who I was and said that he watches or listens to my videos while he draws sometimes. And I was like, that's crazy. But anyway, in my reaching and grabbing for books to get Bernard Chang to sign, I kind of completely messed up my office and then reorganized it, which is to say that some stuff is organized and some stuff is not. And I have no idea where certain things are. Like that original art I was going to talk about. Yet to read Lumberjacks. Yeah, I just got my Lumberjacks books in very recently. I bought issues 1, 2, and 3 on Kickstarter, and those just got here. I want to say 2, 3 weeks ago. But because I was able to, or because I referred the most people to the Kickstarter, I won this as well. So this came with my Kickstarter rewards. This little, I don't know, we're calling it a trophy. I don't know what you would call this thing. It's a thing that takes up space is what it is. But it's just a cool thing. You think you'll look like Skip if you wear a hat and grow a beard, bro? All black people, including yourself, look the same to you? Nah, we don't all look the same. But I mean, if we look and dress very similarly, and we're both in purple, I don't know. Like I said, I just don't want to trigger anybody. Let's see. I'm debating on getting the trade or singles for Lumberjacks. I don't think there is a Lumberjacks trade yet. There is a trade for Ace Blade that includes the first 4 issues, but Ace Blade is up to issue 5. Issue 5 is called Villain Season, and the only way to get that is in a single issue. So, what do I recommend? I don't know. I kind of like single issues, but I'm like, eventually they're going to collect more Ace Blade. We're looking at about an issue a year. Just buy whatever you want to buy. I would buy it in singles. That's how I would buy it. That's how I'd collect it. Because then you can get like cool covers too. Bernard Chang will be in Knoxville September 27th at Nirvana Comics. That's going to be dope. That's going to be dope. He's a really nice guy. Like, he spoke to everyone in the line. Like, he asked real, genuine questions like, oh, you're in high school? What school do you go to? Do you like it? And so on. Obviously, that's not what he asked me. My point is, he really wanted to, like, spend time with his fans. And so that was cool. That was a great experience. Oh man, JC says, what do you think is happening with the state of U.S. comics, or going to happen, with the $5.99 price point and even creators bashing the industry? I mean, I gotta be honest with you, man. Like I try to tune out, or it's not even I try to tune out. I don't really tune into a lot of the gossip type stuff, or like the commentary, mostly because it's negative. Like, and so it's like the more negativity you steep yourself in, the more negative you're gonna feel. Which is not to say that criticism shouldn't be given. Like, if something's wrong with something, then hey, there's nothing wrong with pointing that out. But to kind of dwell in that negative zone is just kind of, it's not healthy in my opinion. All that to say, comics are expensive, but life is expensive. Like, the house that I'm in right now, if someone were to buy it, they'd have to spend about $425 to $450,000. The house that I'm in right now is smaller than the house that I grew up in, that my mom bought for like $130,000, and that was not even 30 years ago. So it's like everything is going, everything's going through the roof. Paper, gas, food, rent, like everything's expensive. So comics are expensive compared to 30 years ago, but so is everything. I do wonder how sustainable it is though, like when the special event comics are like $10. And, you know, the way I feel is that's just, I mean, I could buy this comic book or I could have Netflix for a month. Although Netflix isn't $10 anymore. So, I don't know. Comics are still the cheapest entertainment around. And it's great entertainment. So, I don't think the industry is going anywhere. At the very least, the big two will be around. I think smaller publishers and smaller independent creators will have to be more strategic about how they get their products to their fans. But as long as there are fans, there will be comics, is the way I see it. But I'm no industry expert. I'm just a guy that likes reading funny books. You have fun on the NMC stream today? I did have fun. I had to cut it short because I took a extended lunch break in order to do that stream in the middle of the day. But it was fun ragging on older people. Because the first book we went over is Micronauts, and they're like, "Oh, you excited for this?" I'm like, "I don't know what this is." So that was fun. Dunking on Omar in general is fun. That seems to be the theme of those streams between Jess and Peter and everybody. That was fun. It was a fun stream. I'd like to do it again sometime. It was also a fun contrast from the first time I went to the Near Mint Conditions channel or joined a stream. This was like well over a year ago. It's been almost 2 at this point, because it was like I was pretty early and I was in the early days of my channel. But all that to say, what happened? We were looking at the solicits and it was like, "Hey, have you read this? Are you excited about this?" And my answer to every single book was not at all. And now we're at the point where stuff that I was reading in single issues is being collected into in omnibus format, so I can actually comment on the stories, which is fun. Yes, positive vibes only on my channel. Those foil prices, yeah, man. Again, it's not even just foil books. Like, I was looking at that Hickman Gods book. It's gonna have a $8.99 cover price for issue 1, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's just like, man, how, if I'm a kid, I'm not going to the comic shop and spending $10 on one comic, especially if I can spend $10 on 2 comics, you know? So as they're, putting out newer ideas, I'm wondering how well those new ideas are landing with a new audience, Alfred Pagua. Hey, creator of Blowtorch Bad Roads #1 is here. How is everybody? Blowtorch Bad Roads #1. Let's look it up. Okay. I see a review of Bad Roads #1 from Blowtorch. Oh, this looks cool. Let's look at this. Give me a second, guys. One day I'm going to buy a second monitor so sharing my screen will be easier. Is this it? Blowtorch page? Yes. What's this about? $4.99, issue #1. Bare-knuckled, rough and tumble, gritty, bloody crime thriller that you've been waiting for. Cool. Oh, it's just now coming out. I'll have to check this out. I'm almost certain it's not going to be available at my local comic shop, but it might be at Things from Another World. In which case, as a matter of fact, let's find out. This is what happens when you don't have an agenda. Just every comment just takes you down a rabbit hole. What was it called? Bad Roads? All right, that's whack. Anyway, we'll do more of this a little bit later. Bernard's here. What's up, dude? We were just talking about you. Super Laugh Hard says, sorry I'm late. I was busy still laughing at the way you delivered the line. I wasn't born earlier. I couldn't resist. It was fun. DC did put a nice George Perez foil Wonder Woman facsimile out for $5.99. Yeah, it's very cool that they're doing these facsimiles. I like the facsimiles just for the regular, but the Batman facsimile edition, Batman #1, that hit FOC last weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And so I pre-ordered it, and they were like, hey, do you want the foil one or the regular one? And I was like, yeah, let me go with the regular one. But the foil is cool too. As Vaughn says, wow, the Bernard Chang? What an honor. I'll be at Nirvana September 27th, sir. Like I said, man, Bernard was a class act. Like, it was really cool getting to meet you, sir. But, yeah, you'll have a great time. He speaks to everyone. You know, I never would talk down about people, but I know you've been at events where it's like people aren't necessarily excited to meet their fans. I've not come across this nearly as often with comic creators. Everyone seems to be genuinely excited to meet their fans. But Bernard just kind of took it to a new level. It was cool. So yeah, very cool. I got, where are my books? I got to show you guys my monkey prints. Where did I put them? Did I leave them in my backpack? Let's find out where they are. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea where I put those books. But yeah, I was very excited to get my books signed. I brought my entire Monkey Prince run, but then I was like, there are people in this line that are not named me, so let me not just get every book signed. So I just picked out my favorite covers and got those signed. And then I brought the Batman Catwoman special edition that Bernard finished for J.P. Leon. And I thought that was just a cool book to get signed. Jay Lee was not excited the day I met him. It happens. Dying to get my Monkey Prince foil signed. Yeah, so I got the red envelope edition, and because the book inside was foil, he did a remark on the actual envelope, so it would stay a little bit better, which was cool. Have you read the Teen Titans series by Cami Garcia? That's the YA graphic novel, Teen Titans? If so, I have not. But I know that she wrote like the Beast Boy loves Raven and then something else. Oh, she's got a bunch of these. I didn't even realize there were so many of them. Like Teen Titans YA graphic novels. She's got one for Robin, Beast Boy, Raven, Beast Boy and Raven. I think that's it. Did I name them all? Cool. Oh, and there's a box set. I've not read any of these. I'll have to check them out. Thanks for the suggestion. As Vaughn says, that's the one I got, the red envelope New Year edition. Very cool. I want to say they did more than one red envelope, but I don't remember which issues besides issue number 1 got a red envelope edition. I only got issue 1 with the red envelope. Murakami Shorty, what is your favorite of the YA Teen Titans graphic novels? That's a question I'd like the answer to. I really got to figure out what I did. Oh, wait. I know where my Monkey Prince books are. They're in the DC short box that I put them back in. When you're actually organized. All right. So this is it. This is my copy of Monkey Prince number 1, the red envelope edition. I want to say I bought 2 or 3 red envelopes, but I ended up like giving them away as prizes on the channel. But that remark is so cool. Of course, the book that I didn't buy was the Jean Grey. There's a Jean Grey series out now, written by Louise Simonson with art by Bernard Chang. And they were giving out like this print if you spent a certain amount of money. I can't remember how much that was. But people were getting free remarks on that print, which was beautiful, by the way, of Jean Grey. But I was like, hey, I came here with my Monkey Prince and without spending money, so I'm just going to get my Monkey Prince. But I also got signed issue 12 because this is another one of my favorite. This is probably my favorite cover of the series. And then I got issue 3 because it's got Batman and Damian. And I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, and then the regular issue number 1. So that's what I got signed at the signing event. And yeah, we had a fun conversation. It was cool. I'm just excited that this short box is actually organized. Let's see. Tayshawn says, sorry I haven't been active in the Discord lately. Been a lot going on. It's been a slow summer for books. Looking forward to listen, I know exactly how you feel. It's been a crazy summer. I feel like we kicked off the summer with, a friend passing, which is not a great way to kick off a summer. And then on top of all that, it was just like, it was just busy. Like I said, I took like 3 family trips. Hobby man, you're going to do another Ollie's Haul. I'm going to Florida and want to know where to buy comics. So I drove to Fort Lauderdale a couple years ago for my wife's grandmother's funeral. Not to make that a sour conversation, but drove to Fort Lauderdale. On the way, we were passing through Jacksonville, Florida, and there's a shop called Gotham City Limits. And I don't know if it's a good shop or not, but it was called Gotham City Limits. You could see it from the highway, from 95. And the font on the outside of the building looks like the font from Batman Forever. So if you're in that area of Florida, check out Gotham City Limits. I was just like, that's such a great name for a comic shop. Like if I opened a comic shop, I would want to steal that name, but it's kind of already in use. Ever read Monkey King or Journey to the West? No, I knew nothing about Monkey King when I decided to buy Monkey Prince. It just looked like a fun book, and it was a very fun book, all 12 issues. It does kind of tie into Lazarus Planet, which I wasn't crazy excited about Lazarus Planet, but Monkey Prince is such a fun character. And what really got me about Monkey Prince was first issue. Marcus, the Monkey Prince, is a sneakerhead, and he's got a pair of Dornbecker Jordan 3s. And I'm like, only a sneakerhead even knows that shoe exists. And that hooked me on the series. Yeah, I didn't even ask. That was the question I forgot to ask in person. Whose idea were the Dornbecker 3s? Only remarked print I have is from Dennis Cow, and everything else is on comics. Yeah, I try not to buy a ton of prints because I don't know if you can tell, but if you watch like my comic book room tour, it is all my walls are full. I've got right over here to my right is my Milestone wall, and I've got my posters laid out like they had them on the Fresh Prince. And then I've got these Ken Lashley prints that I bought at my first. I was like, well, I bought those prints. I bought like 10 posters from Ken Lashley before I had anywhere to put them, but I just knew which ones were gonna hang up. Behind me, you can't see those. But Skip actually bought me these prints behind me. They're Ramon Villalobos prints, and they feature some of my favorite comic characters. There's Batman, there's Miles Morales, and Raphael from the Ninja Turtles. They're all wearing like vintage 90s sneakers. Spider-Man's got on a pair of Jordan 1s, of course. Batman's actually not wearing sneakers. That's just a cool Batman. And Raphael's wearing a pair of Air Max 90s. Very cool. My dad would read to me a few pages from Journey to the West as bedtime stories when I was young. Oh, very cool. Respect to the way you shared your experience and remained authentic. It moved me. If that sounds clumsy, my bad. What experience? What did I miss? Did I share an experience? I appreciate that. Super laugh hard. I don't remember what I said that solicited this response. You mean Dragon Ball? Josh Greathouse says, Bernard Chang, hey, long time no see. Super laugh hard says super groovy. But yeah, man. So that was really cool. I was really glad I was able to make it because I got there and they said they were going to cap the line, but I don't think they ever actually capped the line. But for a time, I thought I had gotten there like right on time or just before a cutoff. And I'm very excited. But yeah, Monkey Prince is so fun. But yeah, I guess we should try to put some kind of structure in here. Let's throw a question out there. What are you guys reading lately? What's your favorite thing that you're reading right now? Josh Greathouse from SCAD. Josh Greathouse, I just realized I'm almost certain I passed your booth at Heroes Con because your name just sounds that familiar. So my bad for not stopping. That was a really weird Heroes Con for me. But Heroes Con has been really odd. Bernard Chang says he was signing until the end from 11 to 4 except for that one break. Yeah. So at one point, I guess he like took a break to get some water or something. But the comic shop manager, Grace, she just comes out with cookies. Like, hey, here's some cookies for those of you standing in line. Like, here's our consolation prize. Because Bernard's got to take a break. And it's like, well, who's going to be the jerk that's like, oh, no, he's not allowed to take a break? Like, it was funny. Josh had a webcomic called Bang the Ballad of the Tiger. Let's look it up. Oh, it's on the Global Comics app. fantasy battle comic. Let's add this back to the stream. A fantasy battle comic playing off the sword and sorcery genre with a girl wearing a silly hat and using kung fu. Bang did not sign up for this. Neither did young Eddie, but Yasmin did. Using their strengths and grit, they will discover what it means to be their own person in this hard story of monsters, empires, ancient evil, and kung fu. That sounds really fun, actually. 24 pages. Oh, the first issue is free up here on Global Comics. That is a silly hat. Okay, yeah, now I gotta read this. Let's just bookmark that, save that for later. All right. Now let's get back to the stream. I heard I'm planning to be there next year. Got a book I'm working. Can send you a PDF. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm BJ at comicsaredope.com. Can send that to me and we'll talk. Actually, just DM me a link or something. I think I have to. My emails are bouncing back right now. I got to figure out what's going on with that. Ultimate Invasion, Children of the Vault, Acolyte from Concrete Comics, and ISOM from the Rippaverse. I saw Acolyte comes out next week in the direct market. I forgot to order it at FOC, so I'm hoping my comic shop ordered a copy at least. But if not, I'll have to grab that from some other source. Children of the Vault. Oh, I was thinking Children of the Atom, which Bernard Chang did, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, that's kind of old, isn't it? And then ISOM. I've not gotten into the Rippaverse stuff, just for all the reasons we talked about earlier. How was your vacation in Astro City? Yeah, so my vacation was actually in Tortola. I was in the British Virgin Islands to actually do a memorial service for my grandfather. I feel like this is a theme of this stream right now. But I brought along my Astro City trade paperback, the Metro book, Volume 1, that was gifted to me by Bunk Master B. And I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I only got through that first 6-issue Astro City miniseries. It reminded me a lot of the charm that I associated with that Marvels series by Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross. And since Astro City is by Kurt Busiek, it makes sense. But it really, I think the best part about it was like it really was a comic about this city. It wasn't necessarily about a particular hero. It was just about this place where superheroes exist. And I thought it was cool to like tell superhero stories from perspectives that we haven't heard, but it feels like we should have heard. Like the Superman analog, who really just wants to fly and enjoy his abilities, but has to save the world all the time. Like, I was like, that's crazy. Like, that's amazing. So I'm still supposed to be recording a review of that first 6-issue Astro City miniseries. I just got to make time to film that review. Let's see. Glitter and Duct Tape says condolences. No worries. Thank you for that. My grandfather passed like 6 years ago, but he was from the British Virgin Islands, and there was a hurricane. And then after the hurricane, the island basically got shut down. And then when they finally got the island rebuilt, or the big city center rebuilt, then coronavirus came. So this memorial that we tried to do in like 2018 had to get moved to 2023. But it was a fun trip. It was good. But definitely a busy summer. I really wish I remembered the name. Is it Grace? Throw me a lifeline, Bunk. I got you. I make mirth and happiness. What does that even mean? So yeah, as far as what I'm reading as of late, I have been catching up on the X-Men, basically the whole X-Men world post Fall of X, or really post Sins of Sinister. And so, yeah, with Sins of Sinister, there's a lot going on in the X-Men world, but stuff kind of comes to a head in the Hellfire Gala and then spreads out again. So, that's that. Okay, so my homie Jane, I think, is watching right now, and Jane just started kindergarten. So, welcome to kindergarten. You are officially a grown up now. You're in the real world. You absolutely deserve ice cream because you went to school. You went to big girl school and walked through the halls like a big girl and stayed in the classroom all day. That was awesome. That is an accomplishment. So congratulations to you, Jane. Your daddy owes you ice cream because I said so. Valza, I finished reading Punisher by Jason Aaron the other day. I started reading Red Sonja by Gail Simone yesterday. Nice. Gail Simone's great. My cat is 15 years together in October. Your cat? You've had a cat for 15 years? I have a cat. We've had our cat for 2018. I think we bought her in 2017, adopted her in 2017. But yeah. It's apt that Bunk is a mod. You two have the smoothest voices on the internet until I start my channel. Thanks, Super Laugh Hard. I appreciate that. I think, who I think's got really, I love Bunk's voice. And then Chris Balga from the World's Finest True Believers podcast. He doesn't do anything on YouTube, but he's got a great voice as well, I think. But Bunk is the voice that I get most jealous of. Like, if I had Bunk's voice, I'd have a whole different lot in life. Oh, your son started pre-K today? Very cool. Very cool. My daughter started 8th grade last week, which makes me feel really old. All right. Had to check my phone, make sure we're all good. Funny enough, we went for ice cream on her first day. Thanks, Kick. She had a nice smile. I started laughing maniacally when you said ice cream. Yes. Yes. There's nothing kids love more than ice cream. Except their parents, of course. He's in 3rd place for now. So yeah. I'm enjoying X-Men post Hellfire Gala or post Sins of Sinister. So I kind of got lost in the Sins of Sinister, and that kind of made me drop off of X-Men for a little bit. I went back and forced myself to read all of Sins of Sinister, only to find that really all you need for Sins of Sinister is the Sins of or Immortal X-Men issue 10, the Sins of Sinister Alpha or whatever they called it, and the Sins of Sinister Dominion. You could skip the entire little branch off series. What was it? Storm of the Brotherhood of Mutants and the Nightcrawler one, Nightcrawlers, and Immoral X-Men. Don't get me wrong, there are fun moments in each of those series, but the further the timeline got, the more it's just kind of okay, what's happening right now? And then you get to the Sins of Sinister Dominion, where everything kind of comes to a head, and it's okay, I didn't need to watch the way stuff unfolded. I could just read the conclusion and then go back to the books when they resumed as normal. And when they did resume as normal, they told you everything that happened in Sins of Sinister. So I was like, dang, I had been pausing or letting this stuff pile up on my to-read pile when I could have just skipped books. So that was funny. But I will say, I'm going to go back and read Sins of Sinister. Eventually I'm going to do a whole Krakoa era reread. and just kind of focus on basically the OHCs and stuff. And I think Sinister will be a fun chapter in that, depending on how the Fall of X shakes out. But there are so many little things between the Sins of Sinister, Judgment Day. There are little things that Kieran Gillen has been kind of sowing in this whole era that are slowly coming back to bite and like getting paid off. And I think it's honestly been handled pretty well. But I think what I'm feeling is kind of like a frustration with single issues in general and the way stories are told. Was everyone looking forward to reread? That's a good question. What's coming out that I would like to reread? I guess besides the whole Sense of Sinister and the Fall of X type stuff. I've got my pull list, the graphic novels on PRH that I can show you. All right. In case you didn't know, Penguin Random House is now distributing Disney Publishing. I don't know exactly what that means, but it's a thing. So we can sort this by old to new. Actually, no. We're going to sort it by new to old. My wish list for books that have been solicited on sale all the way up through May. So The World's Greatest Superheroes, absolute. I'm excited about that. I actually have that in the big oversized trade paperback that they put out. And it's got great Alex Ross artwork. The Hard Traveling Heroes Omnibus, I'm buying because my man Omnidog, Jess Bragg, just sang its praises so well on the World's Finest True Believers podcast. Panther by Priest, Volume 2. I'm very excited for that, to conclude that run. I own Panther by Priest in the thick trades, and what is happening? My wife is like yelling, playing with my kids. But Black Panther by Priest, Volume 3 I bought it in a thick trade, but it was out of print and it was going for stupid prices. It was like over $100 at one point. And I was watching during the pandemic, Marvel did an interview with like just some random comic shop owner. I don't even remember what they were talking about. But behind him, I see on a shelf this Black Panther by Priest Volume 3 just sitting there. So I researched the name of the comic shop. I like had to message the dude. I messaged him on like 3 different places, but the place he actually responded was LinkedIn. And we did a mail order for that book. And that's how I got the Black Panther by Priest Volume 3 trade paperback for cover price. And that's my favorite how I got this comic story. Static Shadows of the Coda, that is going to be a very fun comic to reread. Written by Vita Ayala and Nick Draper-Ivey with art by Nick Draper-Ivey. Issue 6 is out, I want to say next week. And they extended it. It was going to be a 6-issue mini. It's now going to be a 7-issue mini. So when this hardcover comes out in February, if you haven't been reading the Milestone Returns era of comics, this is the standout to me so far. There's Hardware Season 1, and then this one, which is basically Static Season 2. Those are the standouts. Icon and Rocket was pretty good. Blood Syndicate was better than Icon and Rocket. And Icon versus Hardware is intriguing, to say the least. So those are 2 books I'm looking forward to. Wow, all of this is coming out the same day. Milestone's just putting out their entire library on February 6th next year. I was just talking about Judgment Day. The Judgment Day Omnibus is coming out in January. And like I said, what is happening? Okay. So yeah, Judgment Day Omnibus is coming out in January. I'm excited about that as well. And yeah, there's a lot that I'm excited to grab. But most of the stuff that I grab in collected editions are not rereads. They are reading for the first time. So I buy single issues to stay current on what's happening now, and I buy collected editions to learn about what came before. It's only recently that stuff has been coming out at the same time, or that I had already read in a different format before. But yeah, Milestone Compendium 3, that actually is a reread material for me. I've read a lot of that. And that's great stuff as well. The Death Metal Omnibus, that'll be a reread. The DC Power, that's an interesting choice. Like, it's cool that this is getting a hardcover, but by the time this comes out, this story will have been a year old, and there will be a new DC Power celebration out, assuming they keep doing these things for Black History Month. So I guess it's, I have to remember that everybody doesn't go to the comic shop, and this is going to get solicited to the book market, and somebody's going to walk into Barnes and Noble and see this and be like, oh, this is a great new book in time for Black History Month. But for me, it's just odd that it's just now coming out. Question by Denny O'Neil and Dennis Cowan, Volume 2. It's nice. Oh, this book, Black Solstice, looks interesting. I don't know if you guys remember that Twitter joke, but like, I don't remember when it was, but it was like, there was some day where, winter solstice, it was like every Black person was supposed to just get powers. And so the joke was, oh yeah, I'm waiting up for my superpowers. And somebody decided to make a book about that, about Black people getting superpowers, and then the superpowers disappearing. And so the winter solstice approaches again. They're waiting to see if they're going to get more superpowers. So that just sounds like a fun book. I had never heard of it before. I was just looking through the solicits, and now I'm excited for it now. A little trade paperback. This one, though, John Burns X-Men Artist Edition. The only other Artist Edition I own is a Jim Lee X-Men Artist Edition, and I loved it. Now that I've read a lot of John Byrne on X-Men, Dark Phoenix Saga, Days of Future Past, seeing that on a huge Artist Edition pages is going to be awesome. Great House says, you ever meet Brian Stelfreeze? I did meet Brian Stelfreeze. In fact, I met him last year at Heroes Con. I don't think we spoke at Heroes Con this year. I don't remember if he was there. But I got this print from Stelfreeze at Heroes Con 2022. It was cool. And when I say I met Brian Stelfreeze, he was heads down working on a commission. We barely spoke, and he had like someone basically selling wares for him at his table. But still, to me, that counts, because he did sign my book or my print. Let's see. Oh, what are we? Oh, I have missed out on so many of these comments. I'm not going to go in and try to read all of them, but I'll pick out a few. Lazarus hardcover reprints, awesome. Several books trying to get through. Lupin the Third, Thick as Thieves, Power Man, Iron Fist Epic Collection, Tailspin, Flight of the Skyraker, and other stuff. The Tailspin, Flight of the Skyraker, that is that Disney Afternoon Adventures Volume 3? 2 or 3. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Afro Sci-Fi wants to reread Marvel's New Universe books from the 80s. Star Brand is worthy of applause. Justice League is an amalgamation of Elite's. Dragon Ball is a dojo. Are we just comparing manga to superheroes? Judge Dredd evolves like the reader does over time and no longer looks completely fiction, more like a warning. Hey, House of Nerd Shows here. What's up? Good to see you. How to overcome fear of damaging an omnibus as a result of reading. So I don't read omnis like on the go. I quite literally only read my physical omnibus hardcovers sitting in this chair at this desk. So like what I've got in front of me right now, The Mighty Thor by Walter Simonson. I opened it earlier on the stream with Near Mint Condition, and I literally just cracked this open out of the plastic today. Just unsealed it. I gotta say, it is odd seeing this with like such modern colors. I've never seen the original, but it's just something looks different, or like it's like I'm expecting something that's not here as far as these colors. But anyway, I just read. I read stuff in a safe way, and maybe if I didn't have kids, it'd be different. But I've got a 2-year-old, and so anything that is visible is fair game. Like, here's an example. This hat belongs to the Usagi Yojimbo action figure that I bought at Target last year. And Squeak just came over. Squeak is my 2-year-old. And she just ripped the hat off of Usagi and like broke the little straps. Now I can't put the hat back on him. So stuff like that happens all the time. And because stuff like that happens all the time, like, I don't read stuff unless I know I can keep it safe. So, yeah. What is going on? I'm going to pause for a second, guys. I'm going to stop my camera. All right, man. Yeah, speaking of 2-year-olds, mine does not want to go to bed. Let baby Squeak speak. You know, she's speaking quite a bit. Hey, Kicks, long time no live. Hope you're doing well. Sadly, I'm at football practice with my son. Can't stay. Stay healthy. Thank you, sir. I'm glad you stopped by. Average Comics Joe. Really enjoyed Greatest Heist. Hoping to get around to releasing all of it. But even just as Greatest Hits compilations, they've been really solid. House of Nerds says, I understand dad life all too well. Yes, sir. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. Such is the sweet life with little ones. Absolutely. Absolutely glitter and duct tape. So yeah, it's bedtime. Sounds like she went down without incident. But yeah, we probably got like 15 more minutes on this. My 1-year-old my 1-year-old is beating me with a play mop as we speak. Yeah, man. What I will tell you, whoever it was that asked me about not being afraid to damage an omnibus, what I've been doing, because like I said, I don't read my actual hardcovers unless I'm in my office away from my kids, but I take my iPad everywhere. So I subscribe to Marvel Unlimited and DC Infinite and all the apps. I probably subscribe to too many comics apps because I don't read $60 worth of comics every single month. There are some of them that I don't open, but all that to say, it's worth it. I especially like that with Marvel, if you buy a physical comic book, you can redeem the code. And so I will buy my Marvel comics. I'll go to the shop, come here, immediately scan all the Marvel books in, and now I'm reading them on my iPad, but they're this week's comics. But I paid the annual fee for DC Infinite, and I think the special was like $60 a year or something. And so when I did that, now I get the DC books like a month after they're released. So a lot of times books will just pile up on my desk but I've actually read them digitally and not physically. And so says, bro, is it bad that I download comics for free and then buy it if I like it? If you're speaking of piracy, then technically, yes, that's bad. But I get it, right? Like, I get it completely. I miss Comixology. I do. That was one thing I didn't realize was going to go away. The Marvel Comics app used to be hosted through Comixology. So it was like if you redeemed your digital code from the Marvel website, yeah, you had it in the Marvel app, but you also had it in Comixology. And when they made the change, now you open those books in the Marvel Unlimited app. And even if you don't have a Marvel Unlimited subscription, you can still link up your Marvel Insider account and you can get the books that you paid for without subscribing to the Unlimited service. But the reading history doesn't go back and forth. So like when I open my Comixology, none of my newer Marvel comics are in Comixology. And sometimes I just like Comixology better for the reading experience. Such a nerdy thing to say. Haven't read any new comics lately. Working 2 jobs and paying bills. Listen, I get that. My day job has been insane. I just found out I have to like work on a migration on Sunday. It is a holiday weekend and I have to like do tech stuff on a Sunday. And I was literally working for my day job just about up until the stream tonight. So yeah, I get it, man. Reading new comics can be difficult. Running a YouTube channel about new comics can be even more difficult, which is why I'm trying to transition this channel into doing more videos about older stories or like already completed story arcs. Because staying on top of stuff every single week is a little difficult. I'm a Marvel fan, but I like the mix of publishers with Comixology. Yeah, so I have Comixology Unlimited, which is where I read the Ninja Turtles, because I officially stopped buying Ninja Turtles last month. But I love that. Like if I buy a DC book, it's here with all my indie stuff, and so on. So I wish my Marvel books would show up here with the rest of it too, but I don't control that. I don't know who's in control of that. But there's little things like this, right? Planet of the Apes. I own all 5 issues of Planet of the Apes, but only issues 1 and 2 will show up in my Comixology. For the rest of them, I got to go to Marvel Unlimited. And they do little stuff like making Infinity Comics. And then like when you redeem your digital comic, it's actually the Infinity comic and not the real digital comic. That's whack. But Tim says, you still doing Milestone content or have you moved on from that? I haven't moved on from Milestone content. I stopped. Well, I shouldn't say I stopped. I bought every Milestone book that exists. And so a lot of my Milestone content was me unboxing or like working on my quest to complete all the Milestone titles. That quest is over. But there are some like series breakdowns I want to do. And there is a video I'm working on that the working title of it is actually my complete collection of Milestone comics. And I'll show you guys a preview. How about that? All right. So those 2 short boxes that I just like slid over have basically all of my Milestone comics. So as opposed to just like thumbing through every book, which I think is a weird thing to do, my idea is that I will just pick out some of the things that are like the most, maybe some of the more rare books or the books that like are most sentimental to me, like my signed Static number 8 by JPL, or Okay, that box is mostly new Milestone. So, like this one. This is Icon vs. Hardware issue 3. This is the 1 in 25 variant, the 70s variant, homaging the first appearance of Jon Stewart. I really loved this cover. And when I met Daryl Banks at Heroes Con this year, that was the first time I saw this cover in person. Unfortunately, he didn't have this one available for sale. He just had it just to show that he's still doing active comics work. And we had a cool conversation about how he wanted to be involved with Milestone at the beginning, but just the stars never aligned. So he's excited to be doing interior work for some of these Milestone titles. And that was fun. So this is a book that means a lot to me because I got to talk to the guy that drew it, and because this was not easy to get. My comic shop didn't even order one of these. So I was glad I was able to track this down and not pay like too much for it. So that's the idea for that video is I'm going to show you guys some of my posters and other Milestone artifacts that I hadn't really showed off on the channel before, and tell some of the fun stories on how I acquired certain things. Need to get you on the binge and talk Watchmen. You know for a fact that I have not read Watchmen. Or at least somebody knows. We talked about it on Twitter. But I'm down. I want to do more appearances on other people's channels. It's probably a New Year's resolution, but yeah. So to answer your question, Tim, no, I've not moved on from Milestone content. Oh, that was you. That was you that I had the conversation with. That's funny. Yeah. Eventually I need to read Watchmen. I just didn't. Fun seeing you at near mint condition. It was fun being there. Omar is such a great guy. So Omar is that's my homie. So yeah. You know what? Give me a second. So Watchmen is a book that I have purchased several times, right? So I got this trade paperback. I think I bought this on eBay for like $5. And for a long time, I didn't have this book. I bought it because Doomsday Clock came out and I wanted to read Doomsday Clock, but I was like, if it's a sequel, I probably should read Watchmen first. And then like they had that Dollar Comics Watchmen #1, and I read it and I was like, it's fine, but I didn't like really get into it like that. So anyway, I bought this trade paperback, but then I was concerned that it wouldn't hold up well. By the way, it's a completely baseless concern. Like I've had some trade paperbacks where pages kind of rip out or the glue comes undone after a while. So rare for that to happen. But even me knowing that fact intellectually does not keep me from having the irrational fear that something's going to go wrong and my pages are going to fall out. So I ended up buying Watchmen digitally 3 days before they finally put Watchmen in the DC Universe Infinite app. So I have it, a digital version on Comixology that I paid for. And I still haven't read it. I still have not read it. I'm going to read it. And I'm going to go on the comic binge and we're going to talk about it. And it's going to change my life. House of Nerd Show. We dope to have you on the House of Nerd Show. Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's do it. So everybody who wants me on whatever shows, just shoot me a DM on Twitter or X. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me right now. And we'll talk. My pages fall out all the time. Really? I've got one book that when I got it, the pages were about to fall out. And that was the Static Trial by Fire trade paperback. Luckily, I already owned it in other formats, so it's more of a showpiece than something I'm actually reading. But that's good to know, though, that your pages fall out all the time and that my fear is not unfounded. Sticking to hardcovers it is. You know what turned me off to Watchmen? I was watching the movie, and it just seemed dark for no reason. Like, it just seemed like dark for darkness' sake. And I was always told that Watchmen is like one of the most faithful film adaptations. And yeah. I'm going to read this, though, because I really want to read this. And I just can't read this without reading the other ones first. That Gary Frank, man. That dude can draw a picture. I want to make a documentary trying to prove that DC failed to keep Watchmen in print for at least 5 minutes. Then Alan will finish Halo Jones to thank me. I tried to make a documentary, and that just turned into that Michael Davis video that I did. Documentaries are tough work because there still has to be a narrative. And I think that's why people get so upset about documentaries, because they all seem to be biased in one way or another. But there is not really, like, if you don't put some kind of spin, it's not entertaining. It's not interesting to watch. Most people don't want knowledge for knowledge's sake. Like, they want to be told what to do with that knowledge. And I think that's why, like, true crime stuff, like, I remember that Making a Murderer thing on Netflix. Like, that dude clearly killed that lady, but Making a Murderer made you think he was innocent. And so, like, it just immobilized people. He got you to sign petitions and stuff, all that. Anyway, all that to say, good luck with your documentary. I found that documentary filmmaking it's not my calling. I do love a good documentary, though. HBO series of Watchmen was fire. There are a lot of people there are a lot of different adaptations, revisitings to the Watchmen lore that makes me feel like it's just straight up required reading and that I won't participate in because I haven't read the original Watchmen yet. So I got to read it. Bro, you got to do a Milestone series where you go over the whole series. Like, part 1 is Before the Worlds Collide, then Worlds Collide, then Hot Summer, then the finale. Would anybody watch that, though? Like, I'd like to do stuff like that, but, like, I feel like there's some stuff that I do and just no one cares. So, I don't know. The original Milestone universe is really fun and layered. I really like how the Dakota or the Big Bang conspiracy kind of weaves through all of the books. So yeah. Doomsday Clock is underrated in my opinion. Gary Frank and Brad Anderson crush the art. I'll tell you what, these colors are dark. Is that just this printing of the book? Maybe. But this art is good. There's a lot of 9-panel grids in here, huh? Yeah. I'll have to read this. Look at Batman and Rorschach. I would watch that. I'd watch anything you do on Milestone. Word. Who cares if people watch something if you're into it? That's all that matters. That's true to a certain extent. But I can't explain to you the feeling of making something and no one seeing the something that you made. I feel like the politically correct answer is like, yeah, as long as one person saw it and they enjoyed it, then that's enough. Like, for example, the Michael Davis video that I made, we got to have a conversation after that, Michael Davis and myself, and he enjoyed it. And, it was cool. And that made it feel worth it to me. But when I think about the time I spent in that video and in the weeds and researching and stuff, it's a delicate balance. Is apparently my wife is weak. It's a delicate balance for sure. Oh, I know that feeling. It's rough since you put so many hours into something, then silence. I think the older I get, the more my time, the harder it is to carve out time. And so it's like, I think the easiest thing to value your time with is money, right? Like, I could be like, oh, well, if I worked an hour at my day job, I get X amount of money or whatever. So then it's like, well, if I spent 5 hours on a video, making a video, well, if it gets enough views to pay me 1 hour worth of time, whatever, that's something. But yeah. I'm not one to complain about a hobby. This hobby is, I've gotten to meet some of my favorite creators. I get to have conversations with you guys on a very regular basis. I get to read so many stories that I would not have read if left to my own devices, so to speak. Like, if I stayed in my comfort zone, there are so many books that I wouldn't have read because you guys recommended them. I did. And the comics experience has been better because of the time that I spend on YouTube. And so wouldn't trade it for the world. I very much enjoy it. But yeah, as you get older, it can be difficult to spend time doing something that doesn't, at the very least, provide like a sentimental return in value. And I guess at best, provide a financial return that justifies it in ways that other people can see. Does that make sense, right? Like, it's like liking to play basketball versus being an NBA player. Like, one of those things is not like the other. It's about the journey, not the destination. Hashtag, sorry, I worked in film and failed. Yeah, listen, man, there are plenty of worse things to fail at. I think art is just fun in that art is something that no one else can do. Like, nobody can do things the way you would do them. So to that end, it's important that you do them. At least that's how I feel. Like, nobody was going to take the time to research Michael Davis the way I did. If they were, they would have already, right? Like, even when there was like a death hoax out there, Michael Davis didn't get like a spotlight shown on him. So for me to be able to take that time and just go the extra mile, one, to answer questions for myself, but then two, to try to like, put honor on that career, that's dope to me to be able to do that. Any video ideas that didn't come to fruition? I have videos all the time that don't come to fruition. Like, for example, episode 3 of Who's Who, featuring any character that you think should be on the list. The Who's Who list. I wanted to do one on Jon Stewart. I wanted to do one on Naomi. I wanted to do one on Peter Parker. Because I was trying to find somebody white to do it on. But yeah, there's a few. There's a bunch of things that I wanted to do that have not been able to make the time to do just yet. I still got to get my Quantum and Woody review out. But instead of a Quantum and Woody review, I think I'm just going to do a straight up Christopher Priest retrospective and talk about it'll be kind of like a comic tropes style video about Christopher Priest and his writing style and his narrative structure. and how he uses time jumps as a device. That's a video that I want to do. Yeah, there are a lot of videos that I want to do that I have not been able to make happen yet. Yeah, but hey, we got nothing but time. Well, that's not true. We don't have a lot of time. That's the difficult part, right? Super Laugh Hard says, yeah, but in the future, your videos will be watched by billions and will provide for your great-great-grandchildren. That would be cool if that were to happen. I won't be seeing any financial return on something from YouTube, so I just do my things. Yeah, I have. Let me close this door because my wife is having a great time. So, yeah, I try not to put financial pressure on YouTube, or at the very least, not this channel. For me, success on this channel is just paying for whatever books I buy, and I'll leave it at that. I will let my day job pay my bills for the rest of my life, and other side hustles can pay for like more extravagant purchases. But my only goal for this channel is to break even with my comic purchases every month. That's a win for me. Everything else is just fun. Talking to creators, talking to you, reviewing stories that I wouldn't have gotten a chance to review otherwise. All of that is awesome. So I'm excited to get back to it, and I'm excited that you guys hung out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to have to get back on some kind of a regular cadence on these. But our sort of volunteer schedule with the church is just kind of crazy. So we'll figure it out. I think the next time I'll be back here I'll be here Thursday, October the 5th for sure. But we'll try to get another one in before then. Who's actually a dope idea. Do a description of the character, your favorite story for a character, and why the character means a lot to you. Great 10-minute video for you. Yeah, man, I really like Who's Who. The way I do it is like origin and abilities, explain, and then reading recommendations. Very fun. Bunk says later kick. See you in November. That was a great shot. Appreciate that. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it. But yeah, man. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. If you have ideas for video stuff you want to see, hit me up on the interwebs. You can join our Discord server. You can join the K-Score, the Comics Are Dope community on Facebook. All those are ways to get in contact with me. We can go on the site formerly known as Twitter. I'm at BJ Kicks everywhere. I have very much enjoyed talking with you guys, and I will see you guys in another one real soon. Peace.